Good morning and welcome, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 11:31.
Roger is going to lead us in an invocation and the pledges.
Yes, thank you. Please stand if you're able. As we gather here today, we pause to reflect on the season we are in, a time of gratitude, giving, and togetherness. We are thankful for the opportunity to serve our community and to make a difference in the lives of the students and families of Southwest ISD. Let us carry the spirit of the holiday season into our work with compassion, guiding our decisions and reminding us of the value of unity as we strive to meet the needs of those that we serve. Let us approach our tasks with open hearts and a commitment to the shared goal of excellence in education. Lastly, we take a moment to pray for those in our community who may be struggling or facing challenges. May we be mindful of our role in making a difference, ensuring that every child and family has the opportunity to thrive. We ask all these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Roger.
Thank you.
Anyone sign up?
No, sir.
Okay, we'll go straight into approval of budget. Oh, you have some?
Please ask the board to get their food first.
Oh,
and then we'll
okay.
start.
Let's do that. Which card? Okay, we're gonna continue the meeting. Consider approval of budget amendment number 4.
Yes, sir. This is Budget Amendment 4.
It's not
If you
approved.
recall, the board approves the budget by function. Some campuses have moved some money around the different functions, so nothing hitting fund balance. But we did just pay the incentive out last week, so on there you'll see there is an increase to the budget for 2.4 million. That was a fund balance item. So we're asking the board to approve the budget amendment number 4.
I move we approve the amendment, budget amendment number 4.
One second.
We have a motion, a second. Questions, board members? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes.
Mr. Vasquez, I have a message to relay to the board from many of our employees. Many of the employees wanted me to personally thank the board for the incentive. Lots of great comments that I received, and they asked me to share their thank yous with the board and to let the board know truly how appreciative they are of this. So thank you, board members, for doing this. It's greatly appreciated by all our employees.
You're welcome. Well deserved. Okay, consider approval of the guaranteed maximum price for package 1 of the Southwest Elementary renovation project.
Go ahead, Tom.
Yes, sir. So package 1 consists of getting, during the summer, the district moved 3 portables over to Southwest Elementary for the future construction project for the renovation. So this package 1, now that Bartlett Cock General Contractors is on board, they went through, put together the scope of work that needed to be done to kind of pretty them up and make them usable for classroom purposes again. 2 of them are being used as storage at the time of when they moved over. So we went through the scope. Garza Baumberger put out a package for that work, and so the total package for GMP 1, which is just the portable package, came out to $699,056, and that was through Bartlett Cock, and so that'll be funded through the 2023 bond. And that work would start taking place now and be ready to go for right before spring break, when we actually move children out of the building into the portables and then start taking over the rest of the building for the main construction process.
Okay. Questions, anyone?
Does that include a paint job?
It
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll be refurbished the best we can do.
I move.
I second.
We have a motion, a second. The board approve the GMP for package 1 of Southwest Elementary renovation project not to exceed $699,056. District staff to negotiate terms and conditions of the GMP. Questions, anyone? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Thomas. And now we have consider approval of purchase of furniture for Bob Hope Elementary renovation project.
Yes, sir. So just in the last, since the Thanksgiving break, KenCon General Contractors has taken over some areas. We've moved some students out to the portables that we had there. We've taken over the 100 wing, which is going to be the future library. So as we phase through this project, one of the things we're going to need, and we're looking at lead times here, there's some additional furniture that the district is purchasing for the library. It's about a 12-week lead time, so we're trying to get out in front of that, so make sure that we have the furniture here in time for that library to be opened back up. So district staff went through, we got quotes from multiple vendors. The prices range from $78,209 to $96,370. JR Incorporated was the low bid at $78,209, and the district is going to be using the Region 20 Purchasing Cooperative to acquire that contract with JR. So our recommendation is to approve JR Incorporated for an amount not to exceed $78,209.48 for the library furniture at Bob Hope Elementary.
I move. I second.
A motion, a second, that we approve the purchase of new furniture from JR Incorporated at the cost not to exceed $78,209.48 for Bob Hope Elementary Library. Questions, anyone? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Consider approval of construction documents for Elm Creek Elementary.
Yes, sir. The folks from LPA are here, and they're going to go through the construction document presentation, and then we would come back and ask for the action items to be approved on that. So
Thank you,
we're going to turn
Thomas.
it over to Elm Creek. I'm going to turn it over to Chris and the LPA.
Just real quick, the next three items are going to be action items. We went through schematic design on all three renovations. We got to design develop it, and this is kind of like the final phase of the construction documents, and so we're going to be asking the board to approve the presentation today.
Here we are.
All right. Good afternoon. My name is Chris Sinville from LPA. Today we're presenting the 100% CDs project for Elm Creek Elementary. Just to kind of highlight some major things regarding the schedule. Currently we're on track to submit 100% CDs to the county this coming week, along with trying to get our GMP number 2 for 100% CDs coming in February of the following year. And with that, as long as permitting goes well, we will be starting construction in spring break time of 2025. Since the last time we met, there haven't really been big plan shifts or any changes regarding the interior. There have been some minor adjustments on the exterior that we'll get to later on in the presentation.
So since the last time we've talked, or we've seen you all, some changes have been made to the material boards and to, I guess, the overall design, but it's fairly similar to what we showed you originally, just some changes. So this is kind of an overview of the material finish palette that we're showing. And this is going to be the view into the new secure vestibule at the elementary school, just bringing in wood tones and bringing in the school colors. This is a shot of the entry, bringing in more warm tones with the wood slats and having that connection to that main secure vestibule off the front school corridor. Just a view of the teacher's lounge, where we're incorporating some more of the maroon into the wall tile in their areas. This is a view into the library. This is probably, this area and the cafeteria probably the most, you'll see the largest change. We're exposing the ceilings and using ceiling baffles. We also added ACT in a lower portion of the library to make sure that we are accounting for any sound transference, and we have carpet in this space as well. And just as another shot of the library, one more of the kind of specialized design feature, the tree that we have in there. So we split this up design-wise into two sections. So we have the lower house, which is one wing of the school, and the upper house. We've identified the lower house by kind of using different shades of green throughout. So as you can tell, we have the child height casework, as well as integrated bag hooks and things like that. And this is the corridor showing that we're having some green wayfinding in this lower house to help students navigate through the campus. This is an example of what an upper house classroom will look like. We still have the integrated backpack hooks, tack boards, whiteboards, things like that, except that this one is more blue focused. And this is a view of the corridor for the upper house. This is a shot of what the hand washing stations will look like. So we're integrating a pretty interesting wall tile in these areas, as well as where the water fountains are, just to bring into more of our concept, which is topography and earth and connection back to that. This is going to be what the life skills classroom look like. In conversations with the teachers and things like that, they told us that they wanted as much whiteboard space and pin-up space as possible to put up teaching materials for their students, so we integrated that in, as well as an integrated sensory corner with a peace corner and an integrated sensory wall and storage. For the cafeteria, we did more of those same ceiling baffles as we did in the library, except we changed the color and created a really nice moment in the center there that draws your eye to the stage, as well as topographic lines on wood on that main stage wall. And this is just a shot showing student restrooms by district standards. We did we did make the partitions black so that students couldn't, draw on them or anything like that. And these are the boys' restrooms. Getting into the site.
Okay. So regarding the site design for the overall campus, we're looking at providing a new 6-foot non-scalable fence for the existing playground and shading structure that you can see planned north of the property. And we'll be providing a new fence along the front of the property as well. With that addition, we're also doing new canopies around the campus. So new entry pickup canopy, new bus drop-off canopy, and the canopy connecting the new, the cafeteria and gym. And we're also replacing all these small awnings. And just some renderings of the front approach to the campus. This will be the view of the main pickup for parents and drop-off. Okay, and I've already mentioned just kind of the fence replacement throughout the campus. This is kind of regarding the landscape scope. So in the central courtyard of the campus is where most of the kids will be utilizing their recess time. So we'll be providing new play courts and striping throughout. As you can see, so Foursquare, bike rodeo, hopscotch, basketball court, and a US map, which I can show images later. For the front entrance, we're just providing some new concrete pavement with some metal benches. And these are just some images of what those, the striping and hardscape looks like for that central courtyard area.
So it's just painted on there, right?
Yes. Okay, and with that, does anyone have any questions?
Board?
Well, if there's no questions, we're recommending the board to approve the 100% CDs today for Elm Creek Elementary.
But then we're gonna see color boards.
Yes,
later.
and then at the subcommittee in January, they will be coming back, bringing those color boards and giving y'all the materials so that y'all can see them.
Okay. I move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second that we approve the construction documents for Elm Creek Elementary renovation project as presented by LPA. Questions, board? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Let's take a pause. Right, thank you, LPA. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate
I've
it.
had a special request that we jump to item 13A for a item of information by JCB Board. Anybody opposed? Hearing no opposition, we'll do a friendly amendment and jump to 13A.
So in our audience, we have some guests. I think many of you know that JCB is moving into our area, and we're very excited for them to be part of Southwest ISD. Of course, they're not up and running yet, but they're going to be our neighbors, and we're very excited that they're going to be part of Southwest. What this means for us is, of course, more growth, but more excited in regards to this company is so friendly when it comes to public education and what they want to do to help grow our students in regards to internships and opportunities. So I know that they need to get set up, and I wanted the board and our community to be able to hear what JCB is going to offer for our community, since this is going to be in our backyard. Is there a way we can help?
I can show it on the screens, but I won't be able to show it in the stream.
That's fine. That's fine, absolutely. Yep.
Hi, everyone.
How you doing?
First of all, thank you for the invites.
Thank you.
Paul today for the information. JCB are just a new manufacturing company coming to town on the south side. We're looking for 1,500 people in our brand new factory. We see you guys as a real employee route for kids coming out, young talent coming out of education into our business. So we'd like to develop this partnership. Today we just want to come and show you a bit about what we're up to, show you a little videos of the site where we are today on the in the journey, and hope it's very interesting at the end. So my name's Dave Carver. I'm the operations director for the site. You can probably tell from my accent that I am a local Texan from East Texan, from England. JCB's it's a global company. We've got 22 sites. This will be our 23rd. Some people know about JCB, some people don't. So opportunities like this are really great for us to be able to talk a bit more about what we do. We have a number of sites in India. We have a site in Savannah in Georgia. This will be our second biggest site, our biggest facilities in the UK, where our home base is. The company is 80 years old next year. It's a family business, been around since 1945. It's like a bit like San Antonio. It's a very big family business now, but it still has that family feel. And our chairman, who's a lord in the UK, Lord Bamford, he's still got that touch of feel of every single employee on the shop floor. So I'll take you through the presentation. I've got Angela Santos with me. Angela's our HR lead here in San Antonio, but feel free to ask any questions on the way through. So this is our site on the south side. Just how the site's going to develop. Everything in the yellow boundary is what we're working on at the moment. Phase 1. That's 82 acres. The whole site's 399 acre site. So we started off with building this big manufacturing building in the middle, which will have welding, presses, general manufacturing, paint plant in there, and a number of assembly lines. Just looking at the development of the site, so similar to the Toyota facility, they've got suppliers on the site. We intend to do a similar thing, so at the top of the site there's some further expansion. JCB, as I said, it's a family business. Lord Bamford and the family are making sure we do things for wellness and for people on the site. We're exploring whether we do childcare and other bits and pieces at the moment, again for our employees. other bits and pieces. There's some future expansion you can see to the right-hand side. We do intend this to bring quite a lot of products here. In the middle of the site is a ranch. I'll show you a photo of that in a second. Where again, the family's motto is not to come into town and bulldoze our way into town. So we're maintaining that ranch. We're going to build that into the facility to be a customer experience centre. And then our machines will be tested on that demonstration area at the top on the bowl. And we also have some longhorn cattle, which is a prerequisite for the site. We need to make sure we get space for some cattle. But quite a big development, so quite a big development on the south side. Toyota's, as this site's pictured here, is up north of this site. The building just outside the red boundary at the top is actually one of Toyota's buildings, Toyota's outbuildings. So pretty close to the Toyota site.
Did you hear that, Brandon?
Where are we with it today? So we're cracking on. We're in a really good position. So we plan to open the site by mid-2026. So all the mass grading's already been completed by a local contractor. The pad has been prepared. It's about to be concreted, and the utility work's going in at the moment. So this is a little bit of drone footage of looking across the top of the site. Quite a big footprint. It's very exciting. And I think I've got the best job in the world, to be honest, to come over here, not only to meet with the community of San Antonio, but to lead a project of this scale. I mentioned timing. I'll quickly touch on that. So mid 26 is when we're looking to open. The key things that we're on with is ordering the buildings. That's been done this week. So we've ordered the actual building itself. We've got a paint plant to order before we break up for Christmas. And then the other key part then is to start the erection of the building in February. If we hold that timeline, then we're still on plan at the minute. And everything's going really well, apart from the price. Everything else is going really good. Do you know how long have we got?
About 10 more minutes.
10 more minutes. Okay, I'll skip this, but I'll share this. So there's a bit of a video of the processes that we're going to have inside the plant, but I'll share that with you as a handout afterwards. So some key features inside the factory. Again, communication is really important to JCB with our employees. So all our factories have an auditorium or a theatre inside, and a bit of a story about JCB and where the history came from.
How many
So,
people will that auditorium see, you think? How many people will that auditorium see?
I think it's been planned at the moment for about 300 people.
Okay.
So again, we generally in our sites use that for school visits, for customer visits, and
That's
opportunities
nice.
like that. I mentioned the ranch, so there's a building on the site again, which we're going to try and incorporate into the facility to use it as a meeting place, a conference area for people coming onto the site. I think that's really important. It's we shared that with the families when we did the groundbreaking.
So
and I
that's
think-
a house that was already there that y'all
Yeah,
gonna...
it's the family's house. Yeah,
Wow,
it's the
that's
family's
nice.
house.
And again, they've done a really good job of supplying us with pictures and the history of the site. So again, we'll incorporate that into the building. Just to touch on people, which I think is one of the most important reasons we're here today. You know, we want to take 30% of our employment straight from the school system. We've got a number of jobs: assembly jobs, welding jobs, logistics. We see some great opportunities for partnering with schools and trying to make sure that kids are almost leaving the school with an opportunity already that they're working towards. So just share some of those numbers. I won't go through all these slides because of the timing, but I'll just share some of the numbers. So 1,500 roles is what we're looking for. We've currently mapped out today 1,128, and we've got some more products still we're looking to bring in. Today we've got 10 people here in San Antonio. We're operating out of an office block on the Vantage Bank building on the 410. Obviously, until the factory opens, it's quite difficult. Next year, we're looking to bring further 18 to 20 people on, and then in mass, we'll start bringing people in 2026, 2027. So in essence, your kids in the schools today are our potential, employees for the future. So however we can support that and help with that, then we're really interested in building up that partnership. In terms of the types of role, so we have assembly roles. It's a bit slightly different to Toyota. Toyota work on a very short cycle time of about a minute, whereas ours is probably 45 to 50 minutes worth of work. So it's not as intense job as Toyota, but you have to remember a lot more when you're doing the process. But pretty unskilled job. We can generally train somebody from nothing to 8 weeks training to be doing that kind of role. So in the community, we've been working with some of the different agencies like Haven for Hope, Goodwill. Again, just agencies like that we can start to make sure we utilise the whole of the community. Welding. I think the school systems have got some great welding programs. The kids are coming out to a really high level, very high level. I think we were really, really pleased what we saw. So again, I think where we can support that is helping to supply some parts. Again, the type of parts that they'll use actually in manufacturing, and try and partner up there to give them real life examples of things that they'll be welding. Machining. Again, we've saw some machining centres. We've got a lot of robotics going to go on inside the factory. So again, we're really interested in understanding more about that. Paint is very specialist. It's powder painting. I'm not sure there's much of a call for that. So again, we're looking to partner probably just with one area to try and get some training on that. And it'll be low numbers of people, so it's probably not the priority. Big one for us is maintenance. There's definitely a shortage of a maintenance skill in San Antonio. I think everybody's struggling with the same curriculum on that. So again, we're working with a number of people to try and develop a program. And our difficulty for us is going to be, without having a factory, it's how you give people that hands-on training. So we have factories, they're just not in San Antonio. So again, if we could do more block training and block release, we can get some people out and about to some of our other sites. We've seen some really good logistics programs. I think I met you the one night, the CASTEM, they've got great logistics programs going on. So again, there's lots of roles from operating a forklift truck to global planning of materials. So again, good opportunities there for any logistics programs. And then I think the one we're really interested in trying to understand is this middle to senior leadership positions, just how we do that without just putting a job advert out and taking everybody else's people. We've got probably just short of 2 years now before we need those people. So what can we do? How can we get some training going? So the key focus for us really in 2024, 2025 is this schools and manufacturing training programs. That's the key, is partnering up with schools like yourselves. How do we support you? How can you support us? And ultimately, it's about trying to get people a good job. I mentioned the maintenance technicians, and we'll also have diesel technicians, and then the middle to senior leadership positions. I won't get through that. It's just some staff roles for next year. And again, this is just how we're looking at some of those roles and how we're going to train them. That's us really. Bit of a whistle stop, but
Appreciate the information.
Questions?
Is there a specific type vehicle you'll be building? Like,
Yeah, so all the equipment that we move in is from their existing pieces of equipment, and it's in that video. If you've got 5 minutes, I'll quickly show you the video.
Please,
Yeah,
yes.
I think it's. So the first product we move in is from the UK, and that's a telehandler, Skytrack as you call them out here, and this is where it's currently being manufactured in the UK today, and the processes associated with it. So the telehandler will be built volumes 50 to 60 a day production, and then we're also going to produce access equipment that's currently built in Jaipur in India. Again, all these products are currently today sold in the US market, so we're literally shipping everything at the moment that's either from the UK or from India, and it really makes no sense. So this idea of building a factory came out probably 3 years ago. In fact, it might be longer than that. I think it was when the President Trump first came in and put a tariff on us back in the day for shipping machines into the US. That's how the original program first came about. But definitely the right thing to do to manufacture locally. I've said it earlier on in the presentation, but you know I think we've hit on a real win with coming into San Antonio. The community is amazing. I think everybody's been really welcoming to us. Working with us on trying to get this program up and running, and with the exception of the price, I've mentioned that again, everything else is going really well. But, thank you for taking the time.
Any other questions?
Where is the location of the plant?
So we're on Highway 16. To the boundary to the left-hand side of us is Walsh Road. There's a what do you call it? A flea market.
Just past.
there,
Okay.
and then you've got Applewhite Road running the back end of the boundary of the factory, which is near to Toyota.
Okay, I see.
So.
Awesome.
Well, okay, here at Southwest, we are a familia, okay?
Yep.
And we, on behalf of the board, we welcome you to the Southwest familia.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Welcome, and thank you. Okay, we'll move on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you for your
So if there's any questions, we'll send over some slides just to share the numbers, but if anybody's got any ideas of what how they want to work with us or anything, just shout up, and we catch up quite often.
Yes,
So
we do. Thank you.
thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you so much.
For cable, sir.
Thank you, board members, for allowing us to go.
Okay. Okay, now we'll move on to item number 8. Consider approval of construction documents for Southwest Elementary renovation project.
Yes, sir. Jorge Flores here with Garza Baumberger. He's going to go through that presentation. It'll be basically the same thing as what Mr. Crisp said earlier. Final
Good morning, board members. We have been working with the staff to continue with the phase 2 for the renovation of the elementary school, Southwest Elementary School. In preparation for those documents, Bartlett Koch has joined us a few months ago, and we were analyzing with them, along with the district, the methods, the constructability of the project, and this is the result of that. We are currently at 100% of CDs that are going to be delivered this afternoon to the district. This presentation has been already seen by the staff and discussed with them. So this is the scope of work. We are cleaning all the facades. We're renovating the main canopy. It's a partial demolition and construction of a new canopy, so we can enhance the main entrance of the school. We're going to do an alternate for the parking lot, which is going to be milled down and then resurfaced, overlay on the existing asphalt. In the interior, we're going to have the air conditioning upgrade. All the equipment is going to be new. That lead us to reinforce the structure because the new equipment is heavier, is more advanced, but is more weight to the structure. We're replacing the PA system and the fire alarm system. We're doing upgrades to the technology. The flooring, ceilings, millwork are going to be replacing their entirety. We are doing renovations to the restrooms. All the plumbing fixtures are going to be new. We are doing a new sport flooring to the gym. And in the library, we are designing a new storytelling area and upgrade the furniture. The cafeteria is going to be renovated with new flooring, new ceiling, and new finishes on the walls. And we are doing an expansion to the main lobby that is going to be with the new standards for secure. Bartlett Koch has worked the phasing plan, and this is the way we are going to construct this. For that, it was the portals already placed, which you already approved for the renovation of those portables. This is going to help us displacing kids from the classrooms to the portables and have the area ready for the contractor to build. In the main entrance, we are going to expand the waiting area for the kids with this courtyard that is going to be with pavers. But we also are enlarging the main entrance with a new canopy in here. The new canopy is going to have features like the stone that is going to be copied from the arch that is the main entrance to the campus. And we enhance the other little columns with the same treatment. In the main entrance, that's the large vestibule. We're moving the storefront to the edge of that corridor, which is going to be a ballistic resistant storefront. And we're placing a new transaction window that is going to be bulletproof. We're renovating the interior of the office, the attendance and the waiting room. These are some of the views of that area. The corridors are going to be treated different colors, so it's part of what the school desires. And they want the school to be part of the learning for the kids, so every corridor is going to have different colors. We are protecting the walls with tile, and we are placing tackboards so the kids can expose their work, or the teacher can expose the kids' work. And this is the renovation of the library, which is going to have that storytelling area. That is the new circulation desk for the kids. We're renovating the classrooms. All the millwork is going to be new. Cafeteria is going to be having a new lift. Is going to be more simple, but it is going to be very light design. We're adding an enclosure down here from the cafeteria to the gym, so the kids don't have to go outside to get inside the gym. It's going to be protected. That storefront is going to be also bullet resistant, and we are resurfacing the flooring with new sports flooring for the kids, and have new paint. This is going to be for later, all the colors that we're going to present it for approval at a later date.
So once again, we're going to be bringing the color scheme and the textures and the different floor type materials to the subcommittee in January. But if there's no questions, we're recommending that the board approve the 100% CDs for Southwest Elementary.
I move.
A second.
We have a motion to second. The board approve construction documents that have been presented by Garza Baumberger for Southwest Elementary School. Questions, anyone? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Have a good
You too.
good day.
Thank you.
Okay. That's item 9. Consider approval of construction documents for Southwest. No, that was 9.
Good.
Consider approval of construction documents for Crewell Road of the School of the Arts renovation project.
Is that
Yes, sir.
Huckabee?
So it's, this will be Jeff Rodriguez with Huckabee.
Huckabee.
Paul House with Marksman are here to present that. So,
Go ahead.
Okay. Good afternoon, and thank you for having us this evening, or this afternoon, for presenting Crewald School of the Arts. And so we are here to give you an update on construction documents. Let's see, page down here. Okay, so we're actually working on package 2. Package 1, we did an early package for this campus so that we could get portables on site, so that when package 2 is bid and delivered, the swing spaces for the classroom renovations will be available for the kids. So currently, Marksman is working with, we're ready to go for package 1 to bring on the 4 new portables, and I understand those are scheduled to be delivered in mid-February. And so we're working with that. There's going to be some resurfacing of the parking lots out there, but that's the extent, and bringing technology, PA, and fire alarm out to the portables. So that's the extent of package 1. Package 2, we will sign and seal this week. And so this is much like you've seen on the other updates that we've had regarding the site plan. We are looking at updating the fascia and the downspouts and boots for the for the downspouts as well along the exterior of the building. That's about 2,000 linear feet. We will have an enclosure for the building between the cafeteria and the gymnasium. That's probably the extent of the new construction that we're doing. Everything else is mostly finishes. And so we are replacing 3 canopies there. At the front, we're addressing the new canopy and presenting that here. We're also doing the parent drop-off canopy, and then in the back by the gymnasium, we're also updating that canopy with pre-engineered. The one change that's different from what we've shown you last time is the amphitheater. We have increased the seating to seat 100 students out there, but we've also rotated to work better with the grades for the site out in the play area. So that is a change from what we've previously shown you with the amphitheater. Here on the floor plan, you'll see we've got some areas highlighted. Since this is the School of Arts, we are converting the front 2 classrooms to a dance studio. We're also upgrading and providing a faculty restroom there and also a restroom for the dance facility. Yes, ma'am.
On those 2 classrooms, is the floor going to be completely different than the other?
So currently, our direction is the same floor that would be that we would have throughout the campus.
So how would that classroom look different in case we ever needed to turn it into a classroom? What would be different about it? Because you call it a dance room, what would be different?
So currently, we're showing mirrors on one side, no ballet bars, and we'll have lighting in there. It's really the partition between the 2 classrooms that have been removed. So we could go back with a partition to segregate or divide those classrooms up in the future if you choose. So the other items that we have on the upgrades here, we do have a collaboration classroom that is can be used for swing space or for breakout areas for the kids themselves. We are doing upgrades in the library with finishes and ceiling adjustments there. We're trying to raise the ceiling of the library as high as we can, and we have a theme that we're going to show you here in just a few slides here. We're also upgrading the ECSE. We're adjusting those rooms because they're long, skinny, and so we're converting those to more of a square for instructional spaces, and then we're going back through all of the restrooms in the lower house and the upper house to bring those up to compliance for ADA. And so that's going to be finishes, upgrades in almost every restroom in the facility, including the faculty, the multi-user, and then the pre-KK restrooms as well. So all those finishes, ceilings, flooring, partitions will all be updated. In the cafeteria, we are looking at upgrading the ceiling areas as well, kind of clean that up with some wood tones in there to enhance that space there. And then back to the gym, the district has already done lighting upgrades, and so we are just looking at putting in the sports flooring there. We're updating those 2 restrooms in there to meet ADA compliance and doing some new finishes and with colors. And so that's kind of the extent of what we're doing on floor plan wise. I know we have a meeting next week to meet with facilities to go over some concepts for the finishes. And so we then come back, I think, the 7th of January to present colors for Crewald. And so this is much like you've seen at the last presentation. We're working through warm tones. The idea was that the coyote is the theme for Crewald, and so we're trying to enhance some of the spaces to much like a den or the inhabitants of the coyotes. And so these are some of the placeholders that we have on some of the colors. We've also designated each of the corridors for wayfinding so that you'll know if you're in the maroon or the red, that may be the pre-K or the K, or you may move over. However, the campus choose to designate the campus layouts. If you're in the purple area, you may be in the 4th grade wing, or the yellow in the 5th grade. So these are just some inspirations that we have for the layouts on finishes. Back to the front on the exterior, these are the new canopies that we're working on to give a sense of identification to the entrance to the main entrance of the campus, and so those are new canopies that we'd be looking at installing there. Back to the administration area, we are modifying the entry lobby to the campus itself. We are putting in a transaction window, and we're sliding the current administration window closer to the secure vestibule, so someone can be vetted at the window without actually coming into the campus. Once they get vetted, there's a new door that we're installing so that they can come into the campus, sign in, any paperwork that they need to do, and then be released if they need to go back into the campus once they come in on. Again, we're updating the ceilings, the lights, with some wood tones to match. This is an all-new reception counter, and then we're showing some graphics that could be incorporated into the design as well. This is a typical shot right outside the library, looking down back toward that yellow wing. We enhanced the finishes there. We're putting the wood slats in for identification as to the entry into the library. This school currently has the clay structural block in the walls, and we are going back in and removing all of those and putting ceramic tile on those walls to upgrade the finishes there. This is a jump into the library. We're showing some enhancements to the library, cleaning up some of those finishes up in the ceiling. Much like a tree, we're showing the column at the library desk as the trunk of the tree, and then the canopy that you'd be under. We're also showing some reading nook areas off to the right, where students can go back and grab a book and read while they're in the library. Now we're jumping over to the cafeteria. Again, we're cleaning up the ceiling there. We're coming in with some wood tones and enhanced lighting for the cafeteria as well, and just upgrading at the stage itself, or the platform as we call it. The one thing that we are also looking at doing in this cafeteria is we're punching 3 windows on each side of the cafeteria. You'll get a lot of natural daylight in there, and so we'll enhance the eating experience for the students at the campus with those new windows. It's just another shot to show the backside of the serving area. And again, we are anticipating incorporating some graphics on the back wall for that cafeteria area. As mentioned earlier, this is the only connection to the building that we're doing, and this is actually looking outside the cafeteria, the gymnasium, and in the middle there you'll see the connector way that any students on campus, once they're inside, they would be able to go to any classroom, any room within the building without going outside. And so those are those 3 windows on the hardtop side that will be looking into the cafeteria or out into the play area. We move to the gym here. This is the sports flooring that we're upgrading. We're doing some finishes on the padding, Foursquare, and repainting in there. As mentioned earlier, the lights have already been upgraded, so we're not touching the lights in the gymnasium. And then as we jump to the schedule, as mentioned earlier, we've already issued package 1, which is identified here in blue. We've got all the building permits. Marksman is ready to get started on that. And then package 2 will have ready, signed and sealed this week. Because of the holidays, the Marksman is not anticipating advertising until just after the new year. We're expected to have a pre-proposal in February, come back with GMP evaluations to the board in March. If approved, then we could start construction shortly after. So that's kind of where we are on schedule today.
Thank you. Any
That's
questions? We're recommending the board approve 100% CDs for Crewell Road School of the Arts.
I move.
I second.
We have a motion and a second that we approve the construction documents for Crewell Road School of Arts renovation project. Hearing no questions, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, consider approval of Southwest ISD to participate in the LASSO Cycle 3 grant. Dr. Wall?
Yes, we have our curriculum and instruction team that's going to be giving us this information. Lisa Bolte, I know, is going to start started, but the state
Yes, sir.
is providing this opportunity for districts to participate in the LASSO grant. Comes with some opportunities for some funds, along with training and the purchase of material. So Lisa, saw you.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. President, esteemed board members, and Dr. Ball. So we're here to talk about the LASSO 3. LASSO stands for Learning Acceleration Support Opportunities, and it is a grant through TEA. So I just want to do a little background to start. Over the last 5 years, we've had a number of consolidated grants with TEA. We had in 2020 through 2022, we had RSSP, the Resilient School Support Program. We had year 1 and year 2 of that. And then they started doing combined grants. So we had the T-Class grant, the Texas COVID Learning Acceleration Supports grant, which was a 2-year grant. And then we had the Learning Acceleration Support LASSO 1, Strong Foundations Literacy Framework Development. And then most recently, we've had LASSO 2, where we did Strong Foundations Planning for Math. And so now we're looking to apply for LASSO 3, which will be another 2-year grant. So why is TEA doing all these combined grants? It's because we're still in COVID recovery. So if you look at state performance for math, grades 3 through 8, you can see that math performance at the state level has still not recovered to pre-COVID levels. And if you look at state level reading for grades 3 through 8, just over half of grade 3 through 8 students at the state level are reading at grade level. So TEA is putting their money where their mouth is and providing us with these grant opportunities to help with this continued COVID recovery. So LASSO 3 looks at 3 different areas. It's looking at curriculum and instruction, it's looking at more time, and then looking at innovative school models. So the districts look at all the different areas of LASSO and determine what's the best fit for their needs. Because there's actually 11 different pieces to LASSO 3. So not all of those are we eligible for, and not all of those are they a good fit. But we did determine that there are a number of areas that are a good fit for Southwest at this time. So we're looking at Strong Foundations implementation for math. We're looking at school improvement PLC supports. We're looking at a technology lending grant, and then Pathways in Technology Early College High School, or P-TECH. Those are the areas we're looking at applying for with TEA. So this is a timeline. They let us know about this grant in October of this year, and there's been quite a few meetings with TEA in Region 20 about what is eligible to be applied for, and we are down to the wire now. We're looking at having to submit the application by this Friday. Once TEA reviews all the applications that are submitted, then they'll let the school districts that have been awarded grants know by the end of February, and then they'll go through a series of negotiations with TEA, determining budgets and making sure it's still a good fit for our district. And we would get our final NOGO, which is notification of grant award, by the end of May. So let's talk about the different pieces. So I'm going to ask Mr. Powell to come up here and talk first about the technology lending grant.
If you remember from the curriculum and instruction meeting that we had, that 3 of the board members sit on, we were talking about the need for technology. A lot of our equipment needs to be updated, and also most importantly, we want to be able to have some devices that our students can take home. There are some students that have some huge gaps that in order to really fill those gaps, they need to be able to work from home. So those are some of the things that we're thinking about.
Thank you, Dr. Ball. That's a great segue. As it's named, the Technology Lending Grant, that is really the objective of what TA is trying to do here, to provide technology to students that don't have access to it at home. And in turn, they also want us to be able to provide internet access for those devices for the students that don't have internet. Another thing that they, interestingly enough, will also allow is for interactive display panels in classrooms to be able to use these TEA resources a bit more efficiently in the classrooms. One thing they do stress on the grant is that it's intended to supplement and not supplant the current technology. It's not intended to replace broken ones or lost ones. It's really meant to supplement and add into what we're trying to do. And so the way we would approach this is to address the students that need some more help at home. So there are limits to the grant and how much money is available. There's not enough funding to be able to just ask for a device for every kid. So to be strategic and try to work in within what the grant will allow, The intention would be to give device hotspots and Chromebooks to the libraries to be able to check out to the students as needed. The two big high schools, we would give them 100 each Chromebooks and hotspots. The middle schools, we would give 50 each, and the elementary schools, we would give 40 each of both. CAST has more than enough devices, but they do have students that are in need of internet at home, so the idea would be to give them 20 hotspots apiece, or sorry, 20 to the campus. And then for digital displays, the goal is to focus on the math classrooms because they were the ones, some of the kids will usually be using these TEA resources. And so to cover all the elementary classes and then the math classes for the secondary, it'd be about 400 panels total. So that's all I really had, unless you had any questions on any of that. All right, thank
Okay,
you.
so we're still continuing? Okay.
Yes, sir.
My apologies.
But now the other component of the grant is P-TECH. So, yeah, we'll go from that.
Yes, so good afternoon. And so this is our innovative grant through LASSO. And so right now in the state of Texas, students who meet the course requirements can earn up to 42 hours of dual credit, but they have to meet the course requirements. If they want to go above that, up to 60 hours or an associate's degree, then we have to apply for a designation through the College Career and Readiness School models. So we have, and as you can see, we do have our ECHS, our Early College High School, where students can earn up to 60 hours, and the other designation is P-TECH. When we brought this to the board 5 years ago, TEA only allowed us one designation. So as a committee, we decided to go with Early College High School. Now things have changed, and TEA has allowed us to now choose 2 designations. So what the big difference is Early College High School is for students who are on the academic route, and then for students who want to pursue a career, then they would go through the P-TECH, the Pathways in Technology in Early College High School. So that deals with our business and industry partners and also our advisory council. So we pretty much have that set up right now with CTE. So this would help us maximize what we currently have. And as you can see, P-TECHs are growing across the state of Texas. And what it allows is for our students who are on the career pathway is it allows for a level 1 certificate. So our students would take anywhere from 15 to 27 hours at our community college and would earn a level 1 certificate. And so this would definitely help as they are preparing for post-secondary success. So the grant does allow for up to 10 LEAs to be awarded, up to $100,000. And what we could use the funds for are visits to industry, our business partners. We could use it for professional development for our teachers. We can use it for professional or contracted services. And so this is what the money would be used for if we were awarded the grant for our P-TECH students and our staff. And so as you can see right now, from our last class, cohort 2024, we earned about 448 industry-based certifications. And so that's 45% of the CCMR that was earned by the district. If you look at our level 1 and 2 certificates, we earned 22 district-wide. So really using and maximizing P-TECH would definitely help, 1, raise the number of level 1 certificates for our students, and then also the dual credit hours that our CTE students would take. And so if we do apply, we do have to work with the IHE to develop a crosswalk, which really just outlines the high school credit courses and the college courses that align. And it's a course sequence that we would outline with our community college partner. And we would also look at continuing our students earning their industry-based certification. We're not getting rid of it. It's in addition to their level 1 or level 2, and they would continue to earn their industry-based certification. But we definitely would work, and we've spoken to Palo Alto, and they're willing to customize our level 1 certificates for us. So we definitely want our district, our campus, and our business and our IHE partners at the table when we are planning if we are awarded the grant. Any questions on P-TECH? Okay. Thank you. And now Ms. Wilson will talk about the elementary portion.
Good afternoon. So I want to go ahead and start because currently, as Lisa had stated, we are currently working on a LASSO grant. We are in LASSO 2, and our work right now is with the National Institute for Excellence in Teaching, abbreviated as NIET, and we are working on our math instructional framework. And here is pretty much the roadmap of our work. We are currently finishing up our belief statements and stakeholder agreements, and you will see that this is a sample of the work that we've created. It basically has the vision statement that we've created for our math framework, our belief statements, and like I said, right now we are currently working on a draft of our stakeholder actions regarding math for our students, teachers, instructional leaders, and even our families. So right now, this is the work that will be presented to our larger committee and then to the teachers as we roll that out probably in February. So you'll see here that this is basically, you'll see this is a graphic that talks about the Strong Foundations Planning Grant, which is what we're working on right now. And basically the move that would be most logical is to move into the Strong Foundations Implementation Grant. You'll see that we should be done with everything by the end of February, and in March is when we'll present it to the district as far as teachers go, talking about the math instructional framework. And what we'd like to do is then move into implementation for math with curriculum. So speaking of curriculum, it's kind of some of the words that you'll be hearing here is about instructional materials. On December the 2nd, a State Board of Education released a list of what they considered high quality instructional materials. And what that is basically is these are curriculums that have already been vetted. They are 100% TEKS aligned, and that list has been provided to school districts as we move into what curriculum we will be using. Additionally, they also have discussed about something we call Bluebonnet Learning, and it is the open education resource. So here's kind of an evolution of these instructional materials through TEA. You'll see that we did start using Eureka Math in 2021. That was part of the COVID emergency relief that was provided to districts. We did use it as a district, but here more recently is where we've been providing a lot of supports to campuses, providing professional development to teachers on this Eureka Math as we have been doing this work with the LASSO 2. What has happened though is that through this HQIM, TEA had worked with Great Minds, which is Eureka, to develop what they called Bluebonnet Learning Math. Essentially, this is Eureka Math, but what has been done is they have modified it and made adjustments to take into consideration that everything be 100% TEKS aligned, and also taking back feedback from the teachers as to what they felt maybe some changes could be made to the curriculum. And so hence it is still Eureka Math, it is still through Great Minds. However, it has been renamed for Texas as Bluebonnet Learning Math. So what are these benefits of these HQIM? Basically, there are benefits to both the students and the teachers. With the passage of HB 1605, one of the things that the teachers had expressed is the amount of time that they spend looking for curriculum in order to teach the TEKS. For this reason, this is why TEA developed this high quality instructional materials and OER is for teachers so that they spend more time actually about how they're going to teach the curriculum versus what they're going to teach. And this is where we get into using the HQIM instead of to designing their curriculum. Basically, it is internalizing it. So it's really taking the time to really look at the curriculum and dig deep into it so that they're really understanding the delivery and the instruction. It's their time to really focus on the instruction that they're delivering to the students versus having to search for things to teach the curriculum. With Strong Foundations 3, as we move into it, we would like to move into it in order to implement this Bluebonnet Math. So you'll see here that the grant provides us resources in order to support our district. The implementation supports from the approved provider will allow us to provide district and school leaders to create an implementation plan. And then the product supports are more to provide teachers and coaches with the support that they need in order to support the teachers. So in particular, the implementation reports include action plans for the district on how we're going to deliver that professional development to teachers. It also provides monthly supports, meaning meetings with the approved provider that we choose in order to better roll out PD to the district. And then also they come to the facility and do learning walks with us so that we can see what is going on in classrooms and teachers' classrooms and then provide us feedback. For the product support, they will be providing support for professional learning, delivering the PD to our teachers about the new curriculum, and also providing flexible supports to our coaches so that they can better support our teachers. And they also provide PD for observations as to what we should be looking and seeing in the classroom as we implement the new curriculum. So then I have Anitra.
Secondary campuses would like to move to apply for implementation of math. Elementary has already began the planning, K-12, with the support of our secondary content coordinator. She has been instrumental in the process and the committee to make sure that it is aligned elementary through high school. So why? Why would we want to apply at secondary? Looking at our district textbook adoption, our last adoption for McGraw-Hill was in 2015. 2 years ago, we had the option to pilot Carnegie Math. At that time, as a district, we decided not to pilot Carnegie Math in the event that we knew HQIM was coming out. And that would mean that teachers would have to learn Carnegie Math and then a whole new curriculum if we were to have onboarded with Carnegie. Looking at our data, from fall 24 to fall 25, looking at where currently all 4 middle schools are, they are in that low achievement, low growth. Teachers are using McGraw-Hill, which again was adopted in 2015, but in addition to that, they spend their time looking for resources, pulling different resources, maneuvering in the middle, D'Alba, and really spending their time creating resources versus having an opportunity to really get into the lesson and how they're going to teach it. When we look at algebra, please note that algebra is a small section of 8th grade students. That is about, each campus has anywhere from 1 to 2 sections that take algebra, and the majority is coming from high school. And so we are moving to apply for implementation for 6 through 8 and algebra. These are the 3 resources that State Board of Education has deemed as high quality instructional materials. It is STEM Scopes, Texas Math, and Bluebonnet Mathematics. This week, we are going to lead the principals through an audit of these 3 different curriculum resources to identify what is the best unit for us as far as a district. Then on Monday, we will also lead the MCLs and the coaches through the same process, so they have an opportunity to review those materials, and then making a plan on how we're going to roll it out through PLCs to the rest of the math teachers across 6 through 8 in algebra. To close with math, this is just a timeline again. If middle school was awarded and 9th grade are awarded the grant, we would jump on board in February and March and start providing teachers with research-based instructional strategies training, and then make a plan to ensure that all teachers are trained during the summer and provided the resources that they need. Any questions about math?
All right, so I know there has been some questions about reading because TA did also release HQIM Less Honor Reading. And so if you look at the graphic that Anitra had shared previously, you'll see that for reading for kinder through 5th, we've had Wonders and Maravillas. It was adopted in 1819. This curriculum is good until 25-26. That's when it will pretty much like expire, but that's the 8-year turnaround. So Wonders and Maravillas was actually on the list of an approved HQIM list in the very beginning. So we have continued to use it. What we would like to do is, you know, as you saw on this graphic right here, items to consider for purchase was the phonics program and a reading comprehension program. So you know that we have looked at our data, and this is a district data that shows you that really our concern is K1 and 2, hence why we wanted to move pretty quickly on the 95 phonics. And I have received word that it is arriving at campuses today already. And so with this concentration on the 95 phonics, we know that in K1 and 2 at that time, we really have, those are teaching our students the foundational skills. It's learning to read, versus when we move to 3rd, 4th, and 5th, it's reading to learn. And so we really know that we need to focus on K through 2 on teaching our students how to read. Those include skills like phonemic awareness and phonics. And we feel that 95 phonics is really going to address that. I wanted to pull one in particular campus just to show you why we are focusing on K through 2 this next coming school year and the rest of this year. This is one campus right here, and you'll see that as the entire campus, you'll see that our 3rd, 4th, and 5th are on the higher achievement and higher growth. But what you see here is K1 and 2 are in the lower achievement and lower growth. Hence why we really wanted to implement the phonics program as soon as possible, and you'll see to address situations like we are experiencing at this campus in particular. So we have purchased 95 phonics. Like I said, it is arriving at campuses today so that we can implement and have a pretty quick turnaround on that. What we would like to do is for consideration for adopting a reading comprehension as we move into next school year. So finishing out the adoption for Wonders and Maravillas, and then looking at around this time in March when the new HQIM list will come out so that we can purchase a new reading comprehension program for K through 5.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Oh, could you
So-
just explain a little bit about the extra money we get with the LASSO grant?
Yes, so part of using the LASSO grant is basically it provides funds for us to provide all of our PD. So for all the new curriculum, we get that. We get support for our coaches. We even get some of the funds in order to purchase additional materials that we may want or consider. So that's what the LASSO grant does. But also, if we adopt one of the HQIM or OER, then we get several extra buckets of money. So we get the allotment that we get with bucket 1, which is whenever we adopt a new curriculum, but you also get an additional $40 per student if we adopt the HQIM, and then another additional $20 per student to help with the purchasing of the actual print materials.
And I know you have one more you said, but if my memory is correct, from the bucket of money we get, we basically will have enough to purchase this without, we're not gonna ask the board for any fund balance or any new money or anything like that.
Yes, as we've done the math to multiply like our students times how much we get per student, and we're looking at these curriculums, we will be fine purchasing using all of the money that we get through TEA through adoptions.
And are there strings attached to this grant? Sometimes we get grants and then
The
there's
string attached is that we have to use the curriculum that they tell us that we pick from that. I would say that could be a string.
But we've already.
We've already been
agreed that
doing
the
that work, so it
curriculum-
would be perfect for us just to continue that work.
Yeah.
And what you're
Because we
looking-
put so much into it already with our, providing PD, so this is just like the next step.
And what you're looking from us today
It's
is
just
to
to
approve
the
the
LASSO.
application. Okay. Okay.
So we do have one more item that is part of the LASSO 3, so I'm gonna just have Anitra share.
The last grant that we're looking to apply for is the school improvement support. Under federal accountability, these 3 middle schools have been identified as target support campuses. And by applying for this grant, they will not only get implementation, support with implementation, they'll get some more support with the product, but then now they're gonna get additional PLC supports on site. Someone will come to their campus and work with their teachers 20 times throughout the year, providing them the support to onboard with the new curriculum. In addition, they will also come on site 4 times a year to do some calibration walks to look at how it's going using those materials and identify some trends and some next steps for those campuses.
So in conclusion, we do have 13 opportunities, 12 opportunities for us to apply for LASSO grants. They have different items that we just presented, so we are choosing to go with 5 of them. And so we're just asking the board to approve the work that has been shared with you this afternoon, and so we can move forward with the application.
I move.
We have a motion and a second that we approve the LASSO Cycle 3 grant application as presented for Southwest ISD. Questions, anyone? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you, ladies. Motion passes. Consider voting for the election of Bear Appraisal District Board of Directors. Board members, it's that time of the year. The nominees have been listed. We have one from Bear County. Does anybody have any recommendation? Does anybody know of any of the nominees?
Was the listing, it was in the board book, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember looking.
There's Bear County, Northeast, Northside, City of San Antonio that are probably shoo-ins because they have enough votes on their own. So there's one, Dave Gannon from Northside ISD. There's Roger Booker from City of Schertz. There's also Tammy Glasgow, City of Search. And there's one Leslie Sechanowicz from Alamo Community College District.
This is the one we have with 90 some votes, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would say go with Northside.
Well, Northside's already in, they have enough votes.
Oh, they do.
Mhm. Unless you want to add to them. I'll take any nomination. Any ideas?
I don't know anybody.
Did you talk to anyone?
No, I did not. And I did not get any emails. Did we get any emails, Dr.
No, we
Wong?
did not get any requests.
Yeah, I won't get one.
Yeah, I was thinking the same
I didn't get
thing.
any requesting.
I'm going to recommend we give our votes to Leslie Sechanowicz
Should I make
from
What
Alamo
district?
Community College District.
Should I make the
Mhm.
motion?
Yes.
Let me see. I move that we nominate, or our votes go to Leslie Sechanowicz from Alamo Community College District.
And that'll be 94 votes. Is there a second?
I second.
There's a motion, and a second. Board members, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Leslie will get 94 votes from Southwest ISD. Okay. Consider approval of additional curriculum awareness for the prevention of human trafficking for primary grades.
Yes, we do have Coach Hernandez here to answer any questions, but I do know that the SHAC has done lots of work already to look at this. This is something that is needed, so we would like to ask the board to approve this, unless you have any questions. Coach Hernandez is here to answer those.
Can you just tell us a little bit about what this is?
Yes, of course. So we had been researching and doing some other things for secondary and middle school, and we found a presentation by Ransom Life. Our SHAC fell in love with it. As they were doing that, they realized that there was a elementary version of it. And as we were asking and talking to the experts, they did say that starting at the age of 8 is when our kids start to become curious and start to get exposed to certain stuff. And so mousetraps will go over those type of things that our kids are now being exposed to. So when we were younger, the worst thing that would happen to us is we'd fall off a bike. Now, these kids are getting online, they're playing video games, even watching YouTube. There are predators that are on there that are trying to lure our kids into doing things that they don't really should not be doing. So Mousetraps is going to kind of teach them how to recognize those, how to stay away from that, and how to talk to an adult if things like that happen to them. So I think it's really important for our kids to have, and it will streamline straight across from middle school to high school because we're using the same people that we're using at the secondary level, and we'll get them started as early as 8 years old in 3rd grade. So, any questions?
Questions, anyone? Now entertain a motion. We have a motion and a second. The board approve the SHAC recommendations regarding health education curriculum and instruction related to human trafficking.
Thank you.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you, Sandy. Motion passes. Okay,
Health insurance.
we'll go to item 13B, health insurance update.
Yes, we have Brown and Brown with us today. This one is very important because we are already researching, the team has done a great job in researching different options, one of the options of being self-funded, to provide our employees the best insurance plan. So I know the team has been working and Brown is giving some information. This is just informational, but it is something that's very important. So we want to provide an opportunity to the board to really give us some direction, ask some questions, if this is something that we would like to move in. There's many districts that have been doing this, and it brings something very cost effective for the district, but most importantly for our employees also. So Brandon, I don't know if you want to add?
No, that was perfect, so. I know Greg's here to let him go. He's got quite a presentation. It's really good, so.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Greg Caldaway with Brown & Brown, and what we want to do today is just kind of introduce you to some concepts about how you might do your health plan differently than you traditionally have. And as with anything, as leaders, you know that to understand solutions, you have to first fully understand the problem, right? And that's what we're going to spend most of our time on this afternoon. And then as we get, and we're talking about a transition that might happen in 2025, 2026, and we're not talking about something right now. So there'll be plenty of time for us to discuss all the ins and outs of this, but we wanted to give you an introduction to it, and the presentation you have printed in front of you is about an hour and a half long. I have 20 or 30 minutes, so we will not be going over every page in this presentation, but we always start out with what our goals are to help a client achieve the health plan that they want. And so first of all, it's to build plans that are more simple. We understand that healthcare is complex. It's getting more complex, and we want to simplify it for your employees. It also has to be affordable for everybody, from the district standpoint, from the employee standpoint. It has to be sustainable, has to solve all the problems that we see. So here's what the problem is, and it's just math, right? It's just the basic money. That average cost of health insurance today for family coverage is over $25,000. And it's growing at a pace that is completely unsustainable. So this is the problem we're dealing with and trying to solve for. And in the midst of that, your employees don't really have the coverage they want or need, because what we've seen is that most people in an income group of a school district don't have $500 laying around for a surprise medical bill. I mean, that's what the statistics show. And yet we've saddled people with health plans that have $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 deductibles, and that doesn't work. I mean, the fact that people don't have excess money to apply to a medical bill, and yet we've given them a health plan that has extremely high deductible and out-of-pocket costs. So these are the problems. Even prescription drugs are unaffordable with insurance if you're taking multiple drugs. We have to find a solution to that. So the question is, what is actually driving these costs? And it's not last year or the year before that. It's the last 10 years, last 13 years that we've seen this real escalation of costs. So I'm going to tell you that these are the four biggest drivers of that cost. One is the health insurance companies themselves. And I'm just going to make a blanket statement that the health insurance companies, and I'm talking United Healthcare, Blue Cross, Aetna, all those guys, are not your friends. Their goals are not aligned with your goals. They're not trying to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. So we'll get into a little bit about that, but those guys are not your friend. Hospital costs are escalating far beyond any other cost in our economy. Well, why is that? And what can we do about it? The third thing that's driving the cost is what I've simply called the discount game. And that is that PPO negotiated price, which really is just a game. it turns out that when you get that negotiated price, it's actually the highest cost for healthcare in a given market, not the lowest. It's the most expensive way to buy healthcare, and we think we can avoid that in some other ways. Then the last one is the pharmacy benefit managers, and those guys are getting a lot of press. We've been combating these businesses for a long time, but it's starting to get a lot of press, starting to get some government attention. But we have solutions to the pharmacy benefit managers and the cost that they're adding to the system. So if you don't know what those guys are, they're the guy that process all the prescription claims. So it's Optum, it's Prime Therapeutics, depending on what carrier, it's CVS Caremark. Those are the big players in that business. So those guys, we need a solution to solve for that. So, all right. So health insurance companies themselves. We're going to move very, very quickly. The myth is that you would think a health insurance company, like any other insurance company, would want to pay less claims, control costs, and enhance their bottom line, because that's how every other insurance works, right? I take in premium. If I pay out less in claims, then I make more money. That is not how commercial health insurance works, though. And that is because of a provision of the Affordable Care Act called the minimum loss ratio. And what the minimum loss ratio said is a health insurance company must pay out 85% of their revenue into claims. They can only retain 15% for overhead, profit, all those things. And this is in the commercial space. Think of Medicare Advantage plans, all the other things they're doing. This is not how this works. But in the commercial business, this is how it works. So what happened is they realized I can only keep 15%. So would I rather have 15% of $1 billion or 15% of $2 billion? So they want 15% of a bigger number. So they set about to pay more claims, which then resulted in more premium, which then resulted, I mean, it's just been a cycle for the last years, and we can track exactly what it looks like. So the conclusion we've come to at these carriers are not our friends, they're not aligned with the goals of our clients, and there has to be a better way. So this little graph just shows you the rise in hospital cost, and it is by far, not even close, the fastest growing cost segment in our economy. And it's somewhat related to the health insurance companies and the fact that they want to pay more claims, and so they negotiate deals with hospitals that allow them to raise prices. So just accept that hospital cost is the fastest growing, highest cost item in our economy. So the PPO discount game, I mean, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this today. I'll just tell you that that negotiated discount that Blue Cross or United provides for you is actually the highest price for healthcare in San Antonio, Texas. Not the lowest. It's the highest. So are those discounts really worth anything? Are they accomplishing anything that we really want to do? So we think there's some better ways to do that. PBMs, pharmacy benefit managers. These are the guys that process literally every prescription almost that is sold in the United States. They don't inventory drugs, they don't manufacture drugs, they're just a middleman. And as such, they have raked off billions and billions and billions of dollars from consumers, from employers, and there's 15 or 20 different ways that they do it. We're going to talk about just a couple of them. It really should work like Visa. They facilitate a transaction, right? I mean, they're facilitating a sale between a member and a health plan and a pharmacist, and it should be pretty simple. And it is, but they have found ways to monetize that transaction. So here's the big one called spread pricing. So its very simplest form. The patient goes to a pharmacy for a drug. That pharmacist has to buy that drug from a wholesaler. Let's say they pay $10 for it. They have a contract, the pharmacy has a contract with the pharmacy benefit manager, says, hey, we'll pay you $12 for that drug, so the pharmacist has a $2 profit. But the PBM turns around and bills the health plan, could be the insurance company or self-insured employers, $20 for what they just paid $12 for. So that $8 is the spread, right? So not a huge amount of money, but it happens on every single pharmacy transaction that happens. And we've seen it far more egregious than this small example, hundreds of %, where the pharmacist got paid nothing, the client was billed hundreds of dollars. So this is a big problem. Rebates. Rebates are basically kickbacks from the pharmaceutical manufacturers to the pharmacy benefit managers. So why would they do that? Well, they do that so that the pharmacy benefit manager would make sure that drug is covered for all their members, and they also want it covered in a prominent way on the formulary. And what that does is lead to really bad decisions about which drugs are covered, which ones aren't, and it all adds up to increased cost for members and for employers. So the other one is, we'll spend no time on, is called low-value drugs. These are just drugs that are common things put together that you can buy over the counter, that then once they're put together, it's a new drug and it can be sold for hundreds or thousands of dollars. And so that's a problem as well. But the reason the PBMs like these drugs is because they have big rebates. They're going to make a lot of money every time one of those is sold. So I'm going to skip over a couple of things, but I'm going to make one statement, and that is this, that the only way to solve these problems, to solve for these problems, is for an employer to be self-insured. And we'll get into at some point all the details of what that looks like, but there is no way to solve these problems with an insurance company because it's not in their interest to solve these problems. They're making a lot of money because of the problem. So just understand that the solutions that we're going to provide to you are all under the umbrella of self-insured health plan, which is not risky, it is not scary once you understand it, and we'll just leave that. So one of the things that is a solution to the problem is transparency. So you guys understand that healthcare is very opaque. We don't know what it costs. We don't know when we go to the doctor or get a test what that's supposed to cost. There's middlemen everywhere taking money off the top of a health plan. And what we're looking for when we implement some solutions for that is complete transparency. We want to know what we're paying when we pay for an MRI or a surgery or a pharmacy benefit manager, which we still will need. We want to know all the costs without it being so opaque. That extends to us as well as consultants. Our fees to you guys are upfront, disclosed, known. We don't make more money when we sell you something else. We don't make more money when your costs go up. You pay us a reasonable fee to provide this advice. So we want transparency in everything. So here's the strategies and tactics we use to solve for these problems. One is, it sounds silly, we actually have to reduce what it costs to buy health care. We have to reduce the cost of that surgery. We have to reduce the cost of that MRI. We have to reduce the cost of those pharmaceuticals, and there are ways to do that. We'll ignore the second one, change who is on the plan, but here's the tactics we use to reduce the price of health care. One is we need a very transparent PBM who doesn't do any of the things I just described. who just simply processes those transactions and helps us to find drugs at the best possible cost, right? Could be a direct contract with local pharmacies. We have some great deals with HEB for generic drugs, and so we're shifting people there. Could be for the expensive drugs that we're finding alternate ways to source those that cost 0 or 50% of what it used to cost. So lots of different ways that we are controlling pharmacy cost, which is, by the way, probably 30 or 40% of your overall cost is pharmacy. So it matters that we attack this area. The second one is bundle payment arrangements. That is where, if you've ever had a surgery with traditional health care, you know that you suddenly start getting bills from everybody under the sun, people you have no idea you saw, and it's just a mess, and it's very difficult to understand what you're actually getting and what you're paying for. So we have a lot of opportunities for bundle surgeries where it's one price for everything and it's one bill and it's very, very simple. So it's also about 40 or 50% of the cost of doing it the other way. We'll use some reference-based pricing instead of PPO networks. We may use high-performance networks. We also are very, very keen on implementing what we call advanced primary care. And the advanced primary care is taking primary care away from fee-for-service. Fee-for-service meaning I go to the doctor, I pay him a fee to see me, and moving it more into a capitated arrangement where we're simply paying primary care doctors to take good care of your people. So we pay them a monthly fee, and your employees have unlimited access, no cost to go see these physicians. So that's an important part of it. So these are basically the solutions that we're using. Value-based pricing could mean a lot of different things, and it could mean different things for different clients. It could be a network of some kind, could be no network at all. We just completely eliminate a PPO network, and we price claims in a different way. Going to include bundled payment arrangements, and this will make more sense in just a moment as we talk about it. A transparent pharmacy benefit manager with some specialty programs, because specialty drugs, those very expensive drugs, are what's driving your cost, and we have ways to deal with those. And then some form of enhanced or advanced primary care. So that can look a lot of different ways. We're not making a determination on what that looks like today, but we believe it's an important part of a good health plan. So this is what it could look like to your employees. So we believe that there are barriers to your employees getting care. One barrier is cost. It's just pure money. The amount of out-of-pocket cost it would take them to get the care that they need. We want to eliminate those barriers to the degree we can. The second barrier is just finding that care and navigating the healthcare system can be very, very difficult. So we want to eliminate that barrier. So what most of the health plans we're implementing for employers like yourselves look like is we have a big list over on the left of stuff that is absolutely covered at 100% with no out-of-pocket cost to those members. So we are eliminating that barrier to care that is cost. And it can be generic drugs. We have some advanced primary care. Next Level Prime is one of those. There are others. We have recognized that diabetes in South Texas is a huge driver of cost. So we have an amazing diabetes program with board-certified endocrinologists to take care of these folks. We're getting fantastic results, but that's 100% covered with no out-of-pocket cost to those members. Outpatient surgeries imaging, MRIs, CAT scans, labs, durable medical equipment, all of these things you see on this list are available to members in our health plans at no out-of-pocket cost. So we are solving that cost barrier for most people. If we're unable to source something that they need through one of these programs, then it just falls into a traditional benefit like you're used to, but much lower deductibles, much lower out-of-pockets. So this is basically what plans look like. There's a lot of detail that goes into why these certain things, and we can get into that at a later time. But this is a concept of how to implement a health plan that is working. It's been implemented in a number of school districts. It's quite successful. The employees, once they get over the idea that this is quite different than what they're used to, they love our plans. And it becomes an enhancement to employees working here. It comes in an enhancement to your recruiting for new staff, and it's a really good thing. And with the added benefit, typically of lower costs, because we're buying services at lower prices. I mean, it's as simple as that. If you want to build a house and you can buy wood cheaper, your overall cost for that house is going to be less. So that's what we're doing. We're simply buying services at lower prices through extraordinarily high quality providers. And so there's some keys to it. First of all, that's why we're here to speak to you today, is that it has to be supported by the key leaders. Everything from this board to Dr. Ball to the staff, senior staff, have to be on board with this because it is different. It doesn't have that Blue Cross logo anymore. It doesn't have all the things that people have become accustomed to, even though it doesn't work very well for them. They're used to it. So we have to have the support of everybody. We will take on the responsibility of educating people about how to use these plans and why it's good for them, but we hope for support. So that is what I had for you today, which we'll go into far more detail at later dates, but for today, that's what we have. Any questions?
Two little questions. Our employee, I know this is like very specific, but our employees would get a card that says what, just Southwest ISD?
Yeah, it's very specific to you. And it has all the information that the providers are used to, where to file claims, all the things they're accustomed to. Just not a logo of Blue Cross or United Healthcare or whatever.
And do you find that a lot of providers still accept it, or what have you found in your?
What we find is that providers push back a little bit initially because their front desk is simply not used to seeing this. All right, our teams on the back end work through those problems, and in about 4 to 6 months, those problems are mostly gone. But initially, yeah, we'll have a few issues with that because it's just not something that $15 an hour girl at the front desk is used to seeing. When we actually talk to people beyond them and who are running the practice, we can solve for those problems.
You said something about school districts. What school districts? What school districts are involved? What school districts have this insurance?
Harlandale, Poteet, Judson, Del Rio, Lockhart. Those are our clients. There are others that are not.
I was going to say, there's others, but they're not your clients.
Yeah, these are our
Northeast,
clients that I
East
know
Central,
specifically.
they have a plan listed somewhere. Greg, I think just for the board's sake to understand, like, so this is, like taking on as, the risk of the district. Can you talk a little bit about like, claims data and if that goes above beyond what we, as far as collecting premiums? Because what we hear is other districts are having to put money into it to save themselves, which is probably not true. It's just a myth.
So the way a self-insured health plan works, and the reason I say it's not risky, is because there's an element to it called stop-loss insurance. So we create a health plan. We have administrators that administers those plans, pay the claims, do all the things that your insurance company typically does. But beyond that, we buy some back-end insurance, and the insurance is really two components to it. One is on a per individual basis. So let's say the number is $200,000. So we would buy insurance with essentially a $200,000 deductible per person. So the district has a risk, pays all the claims up to $200,000 on one individual, right? So we know that there's only going to be a handful statistically that are going to reach that level. But we do have risk for that claim that's $1 million or $2 million or $3 million. So there's protection for that. Beyond that, below that is fairly predictable based on the historical claims data that we can get. The second kind of insurance is called aggregate stop loss insurance. And what aggregate says is, it's assuming it's $200,000 is your deductible number. All those claims that the district is paying out of your funds below that $200,000 will not add up to more than X for the year. So it's completely known, budgetable, what your cost potentially could be for the year. We hope it's a lot less. We expect it to be a lot less, but we know an upper limit. So before you went into anything, you would know that number. So that's why I say it's not risky, it's not scary. We know what our cost potentially could be.
And I know that you talked about that first 6 months, and I know Dr. Ball hit on it a little bit. So the idea would be to really educate our employees, because what would offer is, I know they have their primary doctor they've probably been going to for years. They may have to change because we went from Humana to Blue Cross Blue Shield, but we would create a plan that they would have a primary doctor that they would go to for free. So they would still possibly have the opportunity to go to their other doctor and have to deal with what Dr. Ball talked about, like using this insurance and arguing with them, like, can we use it there? And then they would step in to help that. But it's educating our people. If you go to the doctors that we're providing that are high quality, you're going to walk in there and have no copay. They're going to see you, and because they're our group, and the labs that you get from them are free. The x-rays you get there are free. So everything that you need to get from your primary doctor is all free to the employee. Yeah. And so that would be the game changer for employees, is creating an area where they can go get all of this for free. And also reducing the cost the district has on the claim side, because we've already negotiated all these prices, versus them going to their primary doctor, which they pay a higher copay, and they probably charge us, higher claims. Yep. Because they're not in our group. Does that make sense?
And what are some of the potential downfalls that some of these districts have had with it? I mean, have there been any issues, problems?
I've called 3 districts and talked about, and all of them, it's the first 4 to 6 months, the education piece of getting people to understand what this, like you said, it's not Blue Cross Blue Shield. You can't go and call a doctor and say, hey, I got Blue Cross Blue Shield. You call a doctor and say, I got Southwest
I don't
ISD.
think that's a problem, because if you have insurance and you have a card, it's insurance,
Well, Dave's company is self-insured, and when we first started going to the doctor, they said, we don't take that insurance, because it actually says FBD, whatever, frozen beverage, whatever the name of his company is. And then in real little letters, it'll say, it says United Healthcare, I think. But anyway, it was a little bit of a pain to do in the beginning. The only thing I would like clarification on is, I did talk to a couple of people that work for Northeast, and they're self-insured also, right? And so they were asking me, well, who's going to be looking at the claims as they come in, right? Because I wouldn't want my fellow coworkers at a school district to see, oh, she's going to the doctor for this. Oh, look, she went. And I know that we have people that know that, like, I'm sure that they see it, but it's actually filing the claims. I think maybe employees might be a little wary of everybody knowing what they've
I
gone to the
can,
doctor.
I can address that for you. So Northeast specifically, they use Blue Cross Blue Shield as their administrator. We're not big fans of that approach. We use independent administrators, but there is that entity, that company that is hired specifically to evaluate, process all the claims. It's not an in-house
So
kind
we
of
would,
a.
it would not be in-house?
No, no.
That would be, I think, one of the first things that an employee is gonna ask.
Correct.
Who's processing the claims? Who's
Correct.
getting all the information?
We don't want to get into that business of having to process claims and
Right.
pay out all those and just.
But
so-
that has to probably be one of the biggest things you tell employees up
Yeah,
front.
Even before they
So you're
ask.
gonna have your own administrator?
You will have one. You will hire one
Oh,
that
we'll
will
have
recommend.
one, but it'll be outside.
Correct.
Outside.
The key to it is he went back to transparency. So having a set fee that administrator is gonna charge us instead of just Blue Cross Blue Shield, no matter what they're charging us and what they're doing right now. So having all these people that work for us
So
independently.
isn't that gonna be like additional charges? I mean, isn't that gonna cost us more?
It's already
Probably,
costing
well, I
us.
don't know if you want to address that. I mean.
Yeah, for sure. So let's go back to a couple of things that I skipped for the sake of time. All right. So if we look at this slide, it's really essentially fully insured. That's your traditional health insurance that you buy from a carrier, and then a self-funded plan. And these are all the components that make up that plan. So in your fully insured plan, you have claims expense. You have some administration costs, which is, there's a cost to do that. You have a pooling point, which is effectively the stop loss that I talked about. You have Affordable Care Act taxes, fees, and then you have some other costs, the carrier's profit, and all those things. If you look at a self-funded plan, you essentially have the same things. You have claims costs, you have an administration cost, but it would just be an independent administrator instead of an insurance company. You have stop loss, which protects the plan. Your ACA, Affordable Care Act taxes and fees are actually less under a self-insured plan. And then you've eliminated a certain amount of cost, which is the carrier's profit and all those things. So they're essentially the same thing. It's a different way of funding it, but it's essentially the same components either way, if that makes sense.
So could you
In other
explain
words,
a
a lot of
little
the
bit of
costs
difference in
we're already
regard
paying.
to how
It's just a matter
Jensen
of
did it
needing
in
to
regard to,
negotiate the
they
cost
were, they
of our own
still had a card that had an
Should lower the
insurance
cost.
company on it.
So what Judson chose to do, which is not what we've done in every other case, but what they chose to do is to have two different plans. One has an Aetna, a traditional insurance company network. It's all administered by the same administrator, but one plan option has Aetna as a PPO network, which is what people are used to. It gives them a kind of a feeling that they're accustomed to, and one does not. The one that does not is cheaper, it costs less, has better benefits, but some people are willing to pay more to have that traditional insurance company logo on their ID card that they're accustomed to.
But I honestly don't remember, so I'm asking, did the employee get the choice?
Employee chooses. They have two plan options.
So it would be like, if I wanted to pay a little bit more, then I will not be restricted on which doctor I get. So I would go to the Aetna using that. Or if I want to pay less in my insurance, then I would go to the self-funded card.
Correct.
Did that?
Now, both of those plans are self-funded. They're all part of the same plan. It's just from the
So
district.
what's the benefit of doing it that way then?
It gave the employee, they had employees they felt like that were not ready for the change they were proposing.
So did that still save the district money?
Yes. But it costs more on the Aetna, on the one with Aetna.
But less employee complaints?
Yes.
So do you recommend that?
I don't. I don't think it's I mean, it may be an interim step that districts need to make, and I think eventually they will come to that place as well. But it was an interim step to make things in their mind smoother for the transition.
So does that mean that the plan has limited physician choices?
No.
No? Okay.
In fact,
You
it's
can
the
still see
opposite.
specialists and
Yeah, in fact, it's the opposite. So plans where we have no network, we're not limiting employees they can go literally anywhere.
So it's not in-network, out-of-network?
Not in network, out of network. We don't care where they go because we're paying a different way. And we'll get into that at some point, but it's as broad as they want to make it.
And so you don't need a referral to go to a specialist or
No.
anything like that?
No.
Okay. Are you gonna pay out of pocket more if you go to
Yeah,
a
so
specialist?
if you went back to that plan design, there's all kinds of things that are covered at 100%, right? Well, those have to be coordinated because those are deals we have, those are bundled payment arrangements, those are certain providers, there's a way to access those. So if you want your care covered at 100%, then you interface with our administrator and that's how you access those things. But you have complete freedom to go anywhere you want. We're not restricting.
So
But-
Brandon, maybe you could tell us now, like, some of the next steps for the board.
What, really today was more about getting this in front of y'all. We wanted to, I know the last brown bag, we wanted to share this so we can continue to move and have these conversations. But we didn't feel like as a district that we could move forward without, and still investigate and really research this and really start getting into the weeds with Brown and Brown without y'all support. Because if you're really not on board with this, like they said, we don't want to roll something out and then you guys will get calls and then we're trying to make sure that we're all on the same page. Really moving forward, we continue going down this path to look at a self-funded. They did say that they still can provide us with some pricing from being fully insured and give it a comparison. The more and more we look into it, it seems like we've talked to other districts, they're doing it, and they've been doing it for a while now. It's a benefit to our employees, especially in the state we're in, as far as our deficit budget, what we can help do and reduce costs. I think the piece that we have to understand, we're reducing costs, not necessarily on the premium side, it's what they're paying out of pocket when they actually go to the doctor. So there's two sides to this instead of just chasing the premiums. So I know we want to reduce premiums, we want to look at that, and we will continue to look for that, but also how do we provide better care for our employees to give them something that's good for them and their families. And so that's why we're here today, just so y'all can hear it before we continue to go down this path. Because we don't want to put a lot of work in and y'all tell us like, well, let's just stick to what we're doing so let's not mess with it, which we will do. But we wanted to let y'all know this opportunity's here. So really for us is if y'all give us the green light to continue to go through this practice with them and then come back to y'all and show what we come up with.
And I know Dr. Ball had mentioned taking it to the ESAC committee, so then we'll definitely need to hear what they say. And how does Ms. Lavery feel?
Miss Lavery.
Douglas here, Mrs. Mary, come up and tell us your thoughts. I didn't understand. She wants to know how you feel, your thoughts.
Oh. It's not gonna be easy, right? But, based on some feedback that we have had with other school districts, there are gonna be a lot of growing pains, right? I mean, it's gonna be a process to get our employees on board. But once they see how it's gonna operate and function and how it's going to work, I think it's like Brandon said, the more information we give them beforehand to kind of get their feedback, and you could probably put a survey out just to kind of see what they would like to see or where we actually stand. But I do know that there are a lot of school districts that have had the opportunity. Again, it's not a smooth transition in the beginning, but eventually as employees get used to it, then it's a win-win for them and a win-win for us as a district as well. But it's gonna be a process. And you might hear from employees retired, so no.
She was not, she's gonna stay, she's gonna stay.
I'm kidding,
Okay.
But again, I mean, I've been doing the insurance part of it for the school district for 29 years, and so every time we make a change, you know, the employees, don't like it, but that's.
If you don't mind, Pat, could you say a few words, because I know you've been with Del Rio for like so many years, and Del Rio employees seem to love it.
Yeah, yes, I'm Pat McMahon. I've been at the Brown and Brown organization about close to 30 years. I would tell you what Greg has said. We actually started this program started researching and building this program about 6 or 7 years ago, and I will tell you, if you keep going the way you're doing, then you're going to keep seeing it's going to be the same. I mean, it's 30% increase, 20%, whatever it is. It's just going to go. And like Mary said, like Greg said, there is a process to this, and our role is basically to get going early and quick, in educating and training. We go to every campus, and we meet with all the employees, and we train them about how this program is. But they're going to see better benefits because they're going to have a chance to get free surgeries. You know, we can give you. I can give you examples of actual surgeries where where the employee would actually go to the superintendent and cry and say, "I've never been able to afford. I needed this surgery, but I've never been able to afford it," and now we get it free. Hysterectomy, what a hysterectomy, what the name of the, we had them in Del Rio go get the heart, had a heart surgery, we flew them to Oklahoma. Oklahoma City. We pay for the hotel, we pay for the lodging, we pay for their spouse and everything, travel, and it saved the program. And they will do a testimony on what kind of care they received, and it saved the program that we had about $30,000 or $40,000. We had employees that left Hayes ISD to go to Lockhart ISD because of the Lockhart's benefit program. I would just tell you, it is they're going to get they're just going to get better access to health care at a lot lower price. But in order to do that, you've got to learn the system, and we train the system. And the TPA, they're talking about third-party administrator, we'll actually bring, he was asking who it is and whether it's, we'll actually bring 2 or 3 in here that we've used, and we'll let you help, the staff help interview the TPAs that best fit y'all. So we're not married to any of them. We basically have them bid out on, and we have them look at the and present to you their strengths, and then we select with that. But it's like Greg said, we bundle all the things that you don't see right now in Blue Cross Blue Shield. All you see is the card, and you get a bill that you don't know what it is and who you're paying for. You don't know the hospital. You don't know you're paying a facility fee. You're paying a doctor fee. You're paying an anesthesiologist. You're paying. You don't know what all these are. We're going to break all that out in these program, and you'll pay and you pay a bundle, a fixed price for these surgeries, and we if there's a time later where they can get more detail in this. I know y'all didn't have enough time to hear the specific details of how this works, but that would be glad to come back and do in-depth detail. The staff has been hearing about it, but if y'all want to hear more about it, we'd be glad to do that. Answer any other questions you might have. But all of our districts have started on it, still on it. None of them have said in fact, they keep renewing. None of them have left the program.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So from what I understand from the board, since there's not really a lot of questions, green light to continue to pursue this.
Look into
this, talk some more about it, meet with teacher groups and continue to work on it, right? Wanna make sure.
Developing strategic priorities.
Yes, Ms. Barton is going to help pass this out. So as a team, a senior staff team, we've been working on our work that we started with Mr. Lujan. So Michael Lujan came about a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, time goes by quick, and started to help us develop some goals for our district. Some of these that you will notice on the piece of paper are, some of them we know we can implement this year, and then some of them are for next year, just kind of depending on what it is. So each one of the team members broke this up, and the very first one that we have has to do with Ms. Barsonis's area. So Ms. Barsonis, you can start to kind of briefly discuss yours.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. And so in taking a look at how we make data-driven decisions, we really took a look at the work that we did in the workshop, where we took a look at what the needs of the district were. And when we looked at that, retainment of teachers, recruitment of teachers, and developing the talent within the district was one of our big strategic priority goals. From there, we picked two that we thought really would move the needle on making sure that we did our job in AHR and administration, which is keeping the talent that we currently have happy and working as high quality, and making sure that we don't lose them, because every year we have a new teacher because we've lost a teacher. It costs money and time. And so we want to do that. So the two ideas that we have revolve around that. Number one is to make sure that we have employee voice, to look at the employees that we currently have, find out what's going on in their division, department, or campus organization to ensure that we address the concerns that they're bringing to us, and making sure we have a platform where they're allowed to give back feedback and have focus groups to actually meet the requirements of giving them voice. Secondly, would be to ensure that we have a good mentoring system for teachers new to teaching, to keep those teachers here for the first 3 years. After we have them for 3 years, they typically stay. And so it's really making sure that they're supported enough to feel confident as a teacher and stay within our system. And those two goals are developed because we can measure and monitor both of those.
So then the next area that we're going to focus on is, of course, improving our academic performance. And with the help of Delila, she oversees that component.
So you heard about a lot of the work that we are moving, and we've been moving for the last 5 years, but particularly for reading and math, you'll see our goals as we are looking at approaches of an increase of 68% to 74%. And then for the meets area will be from 41 to 46% for the reading part. For math, we are looking at approaches from 62% to 68%, and for meets from 35% to 40%. We've also been discussing and working specifically in detail with some of our campuses that did come in according to our former accountability rating of DNF campuses. So our goal is to decrease and also level up and move up a letter grade for accountability for 24-25. And so right now, the state hasn't released our accountability, which is our letter grades, but we're still working with the former rubrics of those accountability items in order for us to help our middle schools and our elementaries that we will no longer fall in those areas. So we're working specifically with them. Thank you.
Yes.
Any questions?
No, I just said thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, thank you.
And then the other area has to do with the business and finance, and we're calling that optimizing fiscal and operational efficiency.
And I'm going to do the first one on that one because it actually falls under administration, which is the attendance increase. So as you know, attendance has been really big for us, and so we've been working on that. And we're making sure that we continue to focus on attendance, because not only is it fiscal responsible, but it actually works to help with student success, to ensure students are in the classroom. And so we're able to make that one of our goals.
But we put it there because it does have such an impact on our finance, so that's why we put it there. And then the next one.
Yeah, goal 2, We're going to work together. We've already had a couple committee meetings, but our goal is, as we move into the 25-26 budget, that we reduce that deficit by $4 million. So we're looking at ways to work through that. And I know that we've had our first committee meeting, and each week, each month, or each committee meeting, we're going to be bringing recommendations. And so as we get into August, we'll be adopting next year's budget, hopefully closing that gap by $4 million.
And then the next one has to do with fostering a safe and supportive environment. One of these does fall under Brandon, but the first two fall under Dr. Hogan.
And so really to kind of support what we're talking about with attendance and with academics, we really need to address behavior in general. And so the district has created a rubric in terms of a behavior matrix, what should be seen on every campus in terms of being safe, being respectful, being responsible. And so the idea here is to make sure that every campus has adopted that and can show evidence on the campuses themselves. And then the second one deals specifically with looking at special education referrals. And the idea here is to ensure that we are basically reducing the gap between the referrals that are submitted that qualify for services and the referrals that are submitted that end up not qualifying for services. And what that's really looking at is ensuring that we are actually looking at referrals that are high quality referrals and that they're not really concerns that haven't been addressed through intervention itself. So we're wanting to reduce that gap.
And then the last one, the superintendent will ensure that 90% of campuses will pass the intruder detection audits for the 25-26 school year. And this will be for next year because we've already started this year. So this will be an item that we would go into next year at that percentage.
And we'd love to hear any comments, recommendations, or concerns that you have.
Anyone?
I just want to say if we, ultimately whatever is the final decision, then we as a board have to stay mindful that we can't do anything to affect them being able to do, say for instance, a deficit. If we're asking Brandon to cut the deficit by $2 million and then we want to do something that adds to the deficit, then we have to figure out how we're going to adjust that. We can't just spend $3 million and then say, you said you were going to save $4 million. But so, you know, things like that, or if they, you know, if Dr. Ball comes to us and says, okay, my goal is to do this, I need this support from you, then we have to be willing to discuss that and see how we can support those things.
We understand that.
Anything else?
Just the academic one on the goal 3 is just, I mean, we'll just have to make sure we lay out which schools those are under those grades.
We've identified those campuses, particularly we have 5. It is Hinkle, Buffalo, McCulloch, and Scobie. And then McNair had just some items, some areas that we heard earlier on the school foundations, the school foundations grant, where we're even getting money to support them. So I think right now with the way the state has been layering the work for us, with the money that we're going to get to support it with the partners, I think that we're in a good place to see some good outcomes and decrease those minutes.
Anything else? Okay.
I want to thank the team that did an excellent job working on these and continuing to revise and edit and look at it. So thank you to the team for doing that. Thank you to the board for their patience as we work on this.
And thank you to all of you for working on this. I didn't think it was going to get done this quickly.
And we do still have a close. We have close.
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
Do you have anything else for us? Anyone have anything else? Okay, hearing none. Pursuant to sections 551.074 of the Texas Government Code, discussion of superintendent performance evaluation, we will go into closed session at 1:59. We come back in the public meeting at 2:22. There is no action needed on the closed session at this time. Do we have other business?
The only thing I have when announced it, Amy from Elementary invited the board to their fine arts performance on the 11th at 5 o'clock. It's a Christmas carol. In case anybody's here.
I'll be going.
I'll probably,
I am gonna
is
do my
that,
best to go to the mariachi concert,
which one?
the high
Okay.
school.
Okay. Anything
And of
else?
course, Blue Santa.
Lusada on Saturday.
Blue Santa's on Saturday.
And I saw the schedule and I like that. We meet here, get
Not
dropped up.
here, transportation,
I
what you
mean,
mean by here,
well,
okay.
here,
I just didn't want
Southwest,
you
yeah.
everybody-
That way we don't have to be fighting for
Yes.
parking over there.
And we were just discussing, I will be driving my little four-wheeler.
And who's gonna go with you?
Me and Joe, Joanna.
The dynamic duo.
Let's
Are you
try.
dressed up?
I think
It's
so.
gonna be an elf.
Oh, good.
And Joe's gonna be the abominable snowman.
Oh, awesome.
Okay. Anything else? Let's close this meeting at 2:23.